Hello, this is Incarnation Realty Group. We are evolving every single moment with new experiences. Let's learn together. Woohoo! Continue to celebrating over 125 subscriptions. In this video, we invite the genius investor finding opportunities with her passion in real estate market, Lori May.
I was born in Sudbury, Ontario. My husband actually was born and raised in the Sudbury area as well. So we met each other in high school. I went to his high school graduation. He went to my high school graduation. We broke up. We went through college and then we both graduated. We got back together. After that, so from Sudbury, Ontario, we first got married. Tor moved to Northern Alberta, moved back to Sudbury, raised our family in North Bay. Our youngest went off to university. Then my husband accepted a job to come west. My husband is my strength. He's my rock. He's my sounding board. He's very interested in everything that I do. He's more than happy to go out and work at his job and be able to sign mortgage documents for me because I don't have T4 income, but he is not really a real estate investor. That's my job. Has a full-time job that he works 12 hours a day at, and he's very good at his job, and he lets me be very good at mine. I've done entrepreneurial few times about my life. So I think the first time I was seriously doing entrepreneurial, my husband and I had just returned back from Alberta. We were fairly newly married, expecting our first child, and we started a partnership with one of my husband's friends, a diaper service. So we ran Cotton Diaper Express. Our newborn baby, when he came along, was our demo model. And with that, it only lasted a couple of 3 years. And getting into real estate investing happened around 49, 50 years old. My father had passed away and had left us an inheritance, and I was burning through it like rubber. I bought the RV, I bought new furniture for the house, we took the vacation. I was just watching the accountant do this. And I thought, this would be a good time to maybe invest in some real estate, and then I would have a tangible asset that I could see, look, touch, hold, that would be like my father's legacy. Like my father had always had a safety blanket under us, and this would continue to be that safety net for our future. So I did buy a pre-construction condo because I was terrified about being a landlord, and I figured pre-construction gave me 3 years to figure it all out. Got that one, wound up buying another one because our daughter came to town and we needed to have another bedroom for her to stay in. So we bought another condo in the same building that we were in. So at this point, I had 3 units. Somebody on an elevator told me that you could only get 3 mortgages at a bank. I had 3. I'm done. There's nothing more to be done in the real estate investing world because you can only have 3 mortgages, and I got 3, so that's all I can do. That was 9 years ago. I'm going to be 60 in 5 days. So I was 51 when I really started my businesses. Actually, it was my husband was playing around on the iPad and he saw an ad for it coming to town, and he said, "Laura, you should go." And I said, "Sweetheart, there's no point in me going to it. We already have 3 properties. We're maxed out. So no point in me going." And he says, "Well, think the presenter has more than 3 properties. Maybe you should just go and ask him how he did it." So I went and listened to how he did it. And it was like somebody just unlocked the starting gate for me. I just took off from there, took little baby steps. Almost every opportunity that I could, I would find somebody was doing that and have them show me how to do the first one. So my first private loan, for example, I started by going to a mortgage broker, and they showed me how to vet the documents and how to make sure that it was reasonable amount of risk that I was taking. It wasn't crazy, how to structure myself. So once I did a couple with a private mortgage broker, then I moved forward to doing my own. Several years of doing that. Then I wound up starting a mortgage investment corporation. Now I put out lots of mortgages, both on behalf of other people through the mortgage investment funds. Lots of different strategies learned. And the best way to learn is to do, in my opinion. You can read about it to death. One of the most popular real estate investing models is buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. Rent's in there too. Great strategy. Love the strategy. Beautiful. But when you say it, it sounds a lot simpler. than when you do it. So I find you actually learn a lot more when you do things, find out what works for you. Back in your school days, you were always told you have to work on your weaknesses. You have to work hard to learn math, or you have to work very hard to get better at your writing skills. Whatever your weakness was, they used to really pressure you to concentrate on those areas and not so much on your strengths because you're already good at those. I find the exact opposite is true when you become a real estate investor. You need to concentrate on your strengths. That's where you're going to be happy. That's where your heart will sing. That'll keep you motivated to keep going. Find somebody that's their strength. Pay them to do your weaknesses and they will shine. So you let somebody else shine and you get to shine, and life is just happier for two people now. Two, we've got a boy and a girl. The eldest child had a granddaughter at Christmas time. She was born Christmas Eve, and she's such a good little girl. 5 o'clock Christmas Day. So she brought mommy and daddy home for dinner. She was 22 hours old when I met her.
Where does she live now then?
She lives with mommy and daddy in Guelph. She was born December 24. Not even 2 months yet.
Video message.
At 10, you're probably getting a lot of don't do's. You're being told to sit down, shut up, be quiet, don't butt in. There's a whole lot of don'ts when you're 10. You're not allowed a lot of freedoms and a lot of independence. I know that you've probably gotten in trouble a few times for acting out or speaking out or doing something that could be perceived as being a little spirited, perhaps. Those things that people are frowning on in your personality today will be the very things that carry you in your future. Do not let people quash that out of you. Keep it. Be strong. Be you.
Moving forward, when she's 20 years old, what are we going to say to her?
High school's over. You can be your own woman now. You don't have to conform to your peers. Do your own thing. Don't believe everything that's in high school, and you do you. Be you, be strong.
And 30?
30, many women at that age are feeling the pressure to start a family or select a husband. If those are things that you've done, that's great. If those are things you don't wish to do, that's great. Follow the path that makes your heart sing. Your life can be as whole as you want it to be. You fill your cup. Don't let others the judgment of your vessel.
How about 40?
40 is a tough age. 40 is when your kids, if you choose to have children, are getting to those trying years where parenting can be a little bit challenging because it's their job to challenge you at that age to try and get their own independence and freedom. At the same time, your parents are maybe not quite as healthy as they once were. Concerns on that side of your coin too. 40 is a hard year, but look out, because here come 50s, and 50s are like the new teenager. You get your life back again. 40 was a hard year for me. I got diagnosed with macular degeneration. My mother had just passed away. My father was very sick. My kids were getting later into their teenage years, going into their schooling and having normal teenage stuff. But it's hard from a parent. 40s were tough. But 50s, the kids had moved on. My parents, unfortunately, were passed at that point, so there wasn't that concern. And that's when Jeff and I moved out west, and we were able to stop being those thou shalt not strict parents to being, we're free, let's go camping, let's go hiking, let's go fishing, let's have fun. It was wonderful to hit 50s. I really enjoyed that. Started with a party in Jamaica on the beach, the same beach that I turned 5 years old. I had my 50th birthday party on. It was fabulous.
To go 60.
Don't see it slowing down though. I just want to keep going. I feel like I finally, in my 50s, became that empowered woman I wanted to be. I spent a lot of years rebelling in younger years, but never leading. Now I lead and I like it. Me better now too. I was always worried about being too fat, being too thin. Just prime example, gray hair. I wear it long. Does it look professional? No. Could it look better? Yes. I like the way it feels. I like playing with my hair. I like putting it up. I like letting it down. I'm doing exactly what I love to do. I get up and do what I love to do every single day. Hubby and I are planning a Mother's Day timeline, a May vacation. We'll go do an all-inclusive or get some vitamin C, spelled SEA. at that time. Carry on for the moment, and we can enjoy it a little later. There will be a visit to the grandchild in there. I consider myself a transplanted Ontario living in Alberta, and I love Alberta. I love Edmonton. I love living there. It's very conducive for people who have an entrepreneurial spirit like I do. When I lived in Ontario, it felt like, and whether this is right or wrong, but you were very small fish trying to swim in a very big pond. To Alberta, the pond is smaller. There's a lot more encouragement for the fish to swim. The whole attitude is a lot more, yeah, that's a great idea. How can I help you? Let's do that. I do believe that I'm a product of everything that I've come through. Every contact I've had, every person I've met, every experience I've experienced has led me to where I am today. So I wouldn't change any of it whatsoever. And there's no way I could be who I am today without those that have gone before me. I think especially the strong females that I had in my life. My grandmother, whom I'm named after, she was a very, very, very strong woman. She had a good career before she got married. My mother, very strong. She was one of the few women in the neighborhood, our whole social circle, who worked. When I was young, I went to daycare, went home and spent time with my mom at night. Just seeing the role models of strong women working to achieve their goals. I think that really does lead to who I am and what I value in my life.
So your husband is supporting you as a strong woman.
I think there is some element of luck in that. He's very strong as well. We're partners. He doesn't tell me what to do. I don't tell him what to do, but we do support and help each other achieve the goals that that for ourselves. The sort of man I was attracted to would be a man who would allow me to be me. I've never been good with somebody telling me what to do. That just does not fly. I've had some good failures, let me tell you.
Cherish, what's your failure? 3 examples.
Early on in private lending, I had a couple of really good private lends and I was all excited about it. I've done well and this is easy and I can do this. And then I stopped doing due diligence or didn't know enough to do as much due diligence as I should. So I lost an investment and I lost it pretty bad. It was awful. $13,000. I have judgment against him. I can't find him. He's ghosted me. The condos that I purchased early on, but just like idiot, looked successful. And I bought in a market doing this. So I thought, you don't know what you're talking about. I can buy lots of condos. Well, it went through 5-6 years. The condo is not doing that. And it's not been fun. I'd love to get rid of them, but still waiting for them to come back to the value that I paid for them. Bought them back in 2011, 2014, and 2015. They're still not worth what I paid for them. Proud of myself with the way I had set up templates in order to do monthly interest payments to my investors. I made a typo, screwed up the bank account information, the zeros with the line through them, and they look like 8s. I put 8 supposed to be 0 or vice versa. Anyway, my investor didn't get her money. And she told me probably on the Thursday or something that the money didn't arrive as she expected it would. And I said, well, sometimes it takes 24 hours. So let's just give it another day and see what happens, leading into a long weekend. Well, sure, she didn't get it the next day either because the bank account still wasn't the same. Because it was a long weekend, we had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I couldn't do anything. So it wasn't until Tuesday she got her money that she should have had the previous Thursday. And it wound up being about 3 days late because of the long weekend. She wasn't happy and she pulled her entire investment with me. Oh my goodness, I'm still 24 in here. Haven't invested before and want to start being investors. So what you want to do is try and find somebody who's living the lifestyle that you want to live. Find out how they did it in order to get where they are, to get where you want to be. I'm not a reader. That's just not my thing. I will read one book 10 times, 20 times. I want to know that particular strategy inside out and backwards before I read the second book. So just try and pick one and follow it, commit to it wholly. And once you've done that, you can add in some more. These people that like to read 10 books a month are getting 10 conflicting opinions per month. It must be just so chaotic in their brain. How do you ever decide.
One book that you read.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably read it about 8 times now. Yeah.
Times.
People join all these different groups.
Mhm.
They belong to this group and that group and the other group. I've belonged to the same one for 9 years now. I truly belong to them. Do I go to the odd meeting outside of this circle? Yes, I do. Do I belong to a couple of their Facebook groups outside of the circle? Yes. But my paid membership goes to one place and I believe what they preach. I calculate my numbers the way they taught me. I do my strategies based on the principles they taught me. I do it different. And I've always been that little bit of a rebel that somebody says you can't do this. And I'm like, oh yeah, hold my beer. I'm going in. One area of it they say don't invest in. That's where I invest. Okay. Damn right. Okay. Well, tell me what to do. I've never been a person who can do the same thing repetitively. I can't do the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out. So for me to learn about real estate investing, I just do it. And that's kind of the way my portfolio has grown. I think a lot of investors, when they initially start, have a little bit of shiny object syndrome. I was no different. I didn't have the coaching that some people get at the beginning. So when I joined the program they didn't have coaches in place. So the best way for me to learn was just do. And that's what I did. And those that I really liked doing, I started corporations for. I have multiple corporations now all devoted to real estate investing. I did, as an adult, go back to school in my early 30s and took electronics engineering. So that's a lot of math and calculus and a lot of numbers. Really liked doing math when I understood the purpose of the math. Then I was a lot more interested and I had no problem doing that math.
So what is your strength?
Love networking. I love doing these sorts of Zoom conversations. I do a lot of them every day. And creative problem solving. So I just identifying a problem and then finding a solution to move on, out of the box thinking. Just because everybody does A, B, C doesn't mean that's the right answer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do B, A, C. Sometimes you can do C, B, A. There can be different ways to maneuver to get around different problems. And it's just a matter of putting your thinking cap on and trying to come at it from a different angle.
So what's the after 10 years you can picture yourself?
I am retired. This is what retirement looks like on me. I love doing what I do. I wake up with a passion and I feel that I've become younger since I've started real estate investing because I'm so happy with what I'm doing every day and I love my life. Mm-hmm. So I don't see me stopping. I don't see any stop in my future. I do see, though, that I may bring on some more managers and elevate to more of a managerial sort of role, overseeing people doing the more day-to-day tasks. Mm-hmm. I can see that happening in 10 years. So yeah, just keep building the corporations and building the network. Not so much for wealth now. I'm not really motivated that way, but I do enjoy opportunities for other people, both for people to invest with me, but also for my staff to grow and learn more about their particular roles and their investment journeys as well. So interest going up high is frustrating. It really is frustrating, but it's teaching you good practices. When interest rates were so low, any idiot looked like a genius buying in an appreciating market, and poof, a year later, it's worth almost double what you paid for it. That's not normal. So today, being forced to do a lot of work and spending maybe a year running practice numbers and trying to find a property where the numbers make sense, that is teaching good skills. Now you're able to be successful no matter what the market is. So slow down, build your foundation a little bit more solidly. Analyze your strengths and your weaknesses, and that's going to give you your game plan to get from where you are now to where you want to be in the most efficient manner possible. The thing I have learned, though, is once you get where you want to be, that does not have to be the end of the journey. You can keep going. You don't have to stop. You can just keep going. You can make a new destination point and work to that. So I had 3 investment properties when I started, and I thought I would buy 2 more. Nobody needs more than 5 investment properties for the future. That's all I'm going to need. Yeah, well, I got a couple more. and the private lending and the land development and the partnerships for other properties. Yeah, and multifamilies now. All sorts of different strategies. It's a passion and it's healing, and I wasn't sure how to move forward or what to do next. I wound up joining an accountability group, something I really strongly advise people to do today. If you are stuck, if you're trying to find a way to move forward, there's 3 major things you can do. Number 1, network minded people and talk to them, because somebody is going to be ahead of you in the race and somebody is going to be behind you in the race. Not that it's really a race, but you can learn from people that have carved out the path, have been in the situation that you are, and you can learn from them how they got through it, how they move forward. But don't forget to turn around and teach that to those that are behind you, struggling to get to where you are. Number 2 is accountability. Be accountable. Make sure that you get accountability partners. Publicly announce that you're going to do this or that. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you are hitting those goals. My advice there is figure out the biggest, highest, grandest, never going to get there, reach for the Jupiter sort of goal. Even if you miss, you're going to land in the stars, right? And now chunk it back. In order to get to that goal in 1 year's time, what are 12 steps I need to do to get there? So if my 12, and plug one of those in each year or each month, and then in that first month, okay, what I need to hit this at the end of the month. So what do I have to do each week to get to that one? It's amazing how much more productive you're going to be spending 15 to 30 minutes per day working on your stuff per day, every day, than you will be if you try and spend 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday afternoon. One time per week does not get you as far, even if it's more time, than a little chunk every single day is going to progress you towards your goals. And then the last thing, I said 3 things. So the first one's networking, second one's accountability. Last thing is partnering. Partner. Find your strengths, whose strengths are your weaknesses. Get yourself together and get going, because you can get 2, 3, 4 people together to do something that you alone could not tackle. It's amazing to me that the strength of 2 heads is not equal to 2 individual portfolios. It's almost like there's a third. You can grow bigger with 2 people than 2 individuals could grow alone.
Still going to be opportunities.
Yeah, I do. I do. There's opportunities to make money in every single cycle of the market, especially Toronto and BC have been, Vancouver have been in positive appreciation growth mode for years and years and years. I can remember being in my 20s and people saying, oh my God, the Toronto market's going to correct. You just watch it. It's going to have a correction.
Right.
It didn't. Times for all different parts of the real estate cycle.
Kind of global plan?
I don't. Here's my reasoning. My father was born in Jamaica. He was the only child, so he inherited his parents' estate when they passed away. He tried to run that estate for about 12 years from Canada. They went to visit Jamaica every year, and every year he'd sit down with the property manager and get the property manager tuned up. This is how we want the property to run. This is what I want you to do. And every year, within 2 weeks to a month of him getting back, the property manager would be right back doing the old bad things that Dad went down to correct. So I watched him struggle with foreign property ownership for quite a while in an environment where he knew what was going on. I also did an investment in a foreign property with a partner. She's down there. She works very hard. She's doing a fantastic job running this property. But one of the issues that we encountered was it's a different culture. So everything right from the way you buy a property. Here we know you put 20% down, you go to the bank, they'll give you an 80% mortgage. That's the way it works. Well, it doesn't work like that when you're not in Canada. It might not. So in Mexico, I think it was 9 or 15 years was the maximum amortization period, where here we're used to 25 to 30 years. Your payments were so high, it was ridiculous. They also wanted 50% down, not the 20 that we're used to. So a completely different ballgame. And that was if they talked to you as a foreigner. at all. So that just complicated it. Beyond that, beyond the differences in the purchasing sort of situation is the cultural difference. So now you need some work done, and the culture and the way they express their ability to do things is different than the way we do it here. So just getting through that, the language barrier, a lot more Spanish than English. Now, even though my partner has learned a lot of Spanish, it's not her native tongue. And even though she often works with people who can speak English, it's not their native tongue. So if you've learned a foreign language, like the trade stuff and that, so we're finding that part difficult. At the end of the day, I think that anybody who chooses to in foreign investments needs to be able to devote themselves to learn the systems, learn the processes, and learn the culture of the area that they're investing in. If you have time to do that, you can find deals that are better than the deals that you find in Canada. You can be super successful. I don't have the time to do that. I do not wish to spend my time doing that. So I'll make my money here in Canada. You go make it in a foreign place, and I'll come use my money to pay for your Airbnb. I registered the trademark. I got a sweet deal. I provide investment opportunities for people that would like to join me within the investing that I do. So if people are looking for opportunities to anything from JVing a property to participating in land development deals to being in a fund that does mortgages, I have all sorts of opportunities, and hopefully one that will appeal to the individuals within your audience. LoriMay.ca.
Everyone can be pro-investors if you do quick action. Thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next video.